I love kitchens and I love cooking, and I'm super excited about our guest today, Dr. Parker. Can you tell us a little bit about him?
Well, yes. So, for those of us in our audience here in Georgia, we have a number of institutions or universities that we work with. Emory University is a research university, as is Georgia Tech, Georgia State, Mercer University, and Morehouse. Our guest today is Mr. Ibrahim Bilal, and he is going to talk to us about kitchen design. And what this means is, like, why are we hearing about kitchen design today? Well, part of healthy aging is organizing your home and doing those things such that you can stay where you live independently for as long as you can be. So Mr. Ibrahim is a native of Nigeria, but he did his graduate work and he is a PhD candidate in building construction at Georgia Tech. And today he is going to talk to us about how design of the kitchen can promote better aging and help you age in place. Mr. Ibrahim.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Perfect. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Like Dr. Parker introduced earlier, my name is Ibrahim Bilal. I'm a final year PhD candidate in School of Building Construction at Georgia Tech. Um, like the other presenter also touched on, what we do in our lab is basically human behavior research. So we try to understand humans and in a scope called human building interaction. Buildings impact our lives in multiple ways. So we live, go to work, go to religious centers like churches, anywhere in spaces. So there's this interaction or symbiosis between our health or the quality of our life and our building. And one of the major aspects that we focus on is cognitive aging in place. So we do a lot of research with older adults with numerous cognitive challenges. So these people still want to age in their homes, right? So, but because they have some challenges, we need to understand their struggles and try to see how we can help improve the quality of their lives to enable them live in their spaces for a longer period. And one of this very important part of the home is the kitchen, right? So for this part, we are trying to see how one of the section of that is using virtual reality to test how kitchen design supports independence in older adult. And this specific topic is part of a broader topic on how we can better design cognitively friendly kitchen cabinets using evidence-based, which is collecting evidence data from the subject that we're working with and using things like sensors, and then designing the solution using user-centered approach. What that means is we sit with people, try to ensure that the solution that we're preferring to them, a solution that they buy into, that comes from them and comes from evidence that we've collected. So to introduce this, the very basic essences we all should know, and we all know that the ability to prepare our meals safely and effectively is an essential part of our life. We term that to be under what we call instrumental activities of daily living. There are quite a few of them, but one of them is the ability to be able to prepare your meals by yourself. And as you can see, that makes the kitchen very important aspect of our lives, right? So this research aims to improve um, self-efficacy and functional independence for older adults living with mild cognitive impairment and their care partners. What this means is the self-efficacy part is the confidence for you to get up and go to the kitchen that you can get things done by yourself. You remember where your utensils are, you remember where your spices are, your ingredients are, and you can easily go there, grab those things, and prepare your meals with little or no help from others. Same with functional independence, which is the ability to do this by yourself, right? So that is the overall goal of all of this. So where does the research gap? Why are we centering or focusing our research on kitchen, right? We did a study started in 2022, which you can see on your screen. It touches on the topic I touched on earlier, which is cognitive aging in place. So we're trying to understand the struggles that older adults living with mild cognitive impairment face in their homes, right? In the different part of their homes. There was a similar study done in Hong Kong, and there's quite a few number of studies that have been done that centers on this. And what we found was that older adults with mild cognitive impairment struggle in remembering where the items are in the kitchen, mostly in the kitchen cabinets and in the refrigerators, right? Simple items like the utensils and the ingredients. It takes them quite a few number of times to process where these things are, depending on the cognitive decline stage. And so this was a very key pattern that we found out, and they also reported a lot of that. So this brought us to ask the question, right? The kitchen, as you can see here, feels like a puzzled environment for people that might be having cognitive challenges, right? So, what are the existing alternatives or solutions to this? We have options like open shelving cabinets, and we have solutions like transparent cabinets, which allows for visual accessibility. But this issue there is that this also comes with its limitation, right? Some people find this cluttering in a sense. They don't want to see the items in the kitchen because it looks cluttered. If it's open shelving, issues around dust might be a challenge or anything. Things can fall and break and be of harm to the people using them. So that is an issue in itself. Another issue is there is no evidence to show what visual accessibility in the kitchen, what benefit it has on individual. So if you have a closed cabinet and you decide to want to switch to open shelving, what actual benefit does it have on you as a person beyond just being able to see things through the cabinet? Things around maybe cognitive load, how long it takes to process, time it takes you to get things done in your kitchen, physical activity levels, and different metrics that might impact your health positively over a long period of time. So we set out to do that research, and we're doing it across three studies. For study one, it's a true experiment. What a true experiment means is us trying to conduct an experiment to see if there is a positive or negative benefit from something that we don't know about. But in trying to do that, we are trying to do it in an environment that is almost true or real to the real environment. So we needed the kitchen environment that is quite relative to what most people kitchen looks like. And for those of us that might be familiar with Emory University or GADRC organizing this program, there is a program there called the Cognitive Empowerment Program, right? And the building that in which this program occupies, there is a very big kitchen right there, as you can see on the screen. It is called the EP6 kitchen. This kitchen is so big that it is coincidentally symmetrical on both sides. So if you divide the kitchen into two, what you have on the left side is the same thing you have on the right side, right? So that forms a perfect environment for us to test out our experiment. So what we did was detach the cabinet on the left side, the cabinet doors, and make it an open shelving. So we had older adults with MCI and their care partner then come into this environment to do simple meal preparation. And with this, they were then given one eye tracking sensors to track how easy or hard it is for them to find items, and also wrist sensors to track their hand movements, how easy or hard it was for them to open cabinet to find things and grab them. And there are other sensors that we used, including also collecting survey data and also interviewing them. So at the end of this, we're able to make some findings and then make a publication. I won't be sharing that findings now, just not to create a bias towards the subsequent studies that we are doing. But we're able to get a reasonable sense of the impact of open shelving or closed cabinets on older adults with MCI in the kitchen. The second phase of this study is a virtual reality experiment. So there are certain limitations in the kitchen that are, for example, we couldn't adjust or manipulate the height of the cabinet because that's already fixed. Maybe the light levels in the kitchen might be affecting or might have an impact. We couldn't manipulate that. And some other factors in the environment that we couldn't manipulate. So a good way to do that is through a virtual reality experiment. A virtual reality is a replica, or it's a going into a virtual environment and interacting with the space as if it is real. So the essence of this phase two is to continue what we found in phase one and also validate if those things in the study one are consistent if we try it out in another environment. So the same goal here is to learn how kitchen cabinets could help improve your experience and also make you more functional independence in the kitchen. So this on the screen is a virtual reality headset and a controller. So as you can see, someone has it on, and what the person is seeing is the person being immersed in a virtual environment and interacting with that environment. So for us, we set out to scan a real kitchen, a typical American household kitchen in a lab called the Our Home Lab at Georgia Tech. The lab is a three-bedroom apartment, but in which we do different experiments. And then that kitchen right there, we took a 3D scanner, scanned that, and then recreated that kitchen environment in a virtual reality environment. The software that we use to develop the virtual reality environment is the same software that is used in developing games like the basketball games and soccer games that many young folks play on their screen on PS4, PS5s, and Xbox. So the replica, as you can see on the screen, is exactly the same as it is in real life. So what is expected is people wear this headset and then go into this kitchen and they're in a real environment in a different location. So this is myself testing out the virtual reality environment. So this is the kitchen, as you can see, and all of the cabinets in this kitchen are closed. So the experiment involves two settings. One is a kitchen where all the cabinets are closed, and then you're told to find set specific items and place that in the designated location, which is the orange area of the countertop. So for this, for example, I was looking for a blue plate. I found a plate, then went to the location and dropped it. So after we are done with this, we take a short break and then come in to the same kitchen. The items are in the same place, but in this second kitchen, the cabinets are visually accessible, right? While we are doing this, there are also eye tracking sensors and other sensors that track some of the things that we are doing to be able to collect the data to support our argument. So again, this is a game-like experience where you're exposed to a kitchen with no visual accessibility and a kitchen with visual accessibility. Every other thing remains constant, which is the items are in the same locations. You're told to look for the same items and you're told one after the other. The only difference is that you can easily see one over the other. So this experiment is a very simple experiment. It's a game-like experiment. It requires minimal risk or discomfort. It is a one-time session. It is done only once. And the location is at the CEP, it's on 6 Executive Park Drive in Atlanta. And the research takes an average of 1 hour, depending on how fast one is. And the 1 hour is not the overall time for the experiment. Before the experiment, there is a short survey. The experiment on average for each one takes around 5 minutes or 10 minutes or less. So, but after each experiment, you're expected to take a break. So all of that cumulatively amounts to around 1 hour. During the experiment, there's proper supervision to ensure safety of the participants. And at the end of the study, there's a $20 token $20 public gift card for each person that participates in the study. And anyone that is interested and sign up for the study will choose a time that works best for them. We just reach out and try to schedule a time that works best for them. And the experiment ends this February. So we have around 2 to 3 weeks left for anyone interested in participating in this study. So at the end of this study, we'll have collected strong evidence both from the study one to study two to see if open shelving is actually beneficial. And if it is, what benefit does it add to us, right? And after we've gotten that, part of the data that we are collecting is interview questions, trying to get people's subjective opinion about open shelving. At the end of the experiment, we asked certain people, do you find open shelving more beneficial? And most people say yes. And if they do, would they like to have open shelving in their homes? And there are different feedback on that. For some that say no, they have different reasons for that. And those reasons are valuable, which is what leads us to the user-centered design approach. In designing a solution, it has to be a solution that is inclusive, a solution that works for everyone. So with that, there is a method. I'll come back here for anyone that might be interested in signing up for this VR study. And also, I guess the PDF of the slides will be shared, and you can easily just grab your phone and scan, and the link will pop up where you can sign up. So for the study three, which is also ongoing, it is called a co-design or participatory workshop. Just look at it as a co-creation workshop where we sit with those that face these challenges and try to design the solution together. In designing this, we came up with this concept of build your own cabinet, right? So there are 5 key categories of this cabinet. And in those 5 categories, for example, is the door type. There are different door types that you can use to enable you have visual accessibility. So you just choose what door works for you, and you go to the next feature, which might be the layout of the cabinet. You choose each of those features, and then we try to see what cumulatively that turns out to be. You can also look at it as a Chipotle style, right? Where you go to each menu and choose what works for you. So we have these different features, and then you choose what works for you, and then you also tell us why you're choosing that. So we collect all of this evidence to then co-create a solution that works for almost like everyone that participates in the study, but also be able to explain why that is being done in that way. This is a typical poster on how that looks. So for those with MCI and their care partner, they'll grab
Dr.
this and
Excuse me, Mr. Bilal.
yes,
Just I want to ask a question here, just to be clear about
yes,
what we're getting ready to do, or what you're asking people in the audience to do.
yes,
You are asking for people to participate in a virtual reality to see how well an open cabinet versus a closed cabinet works, right?
yes,
And that's
yes,
in the first study, right?
yeah,
And in the second study, you're trying to help people design the kind of kitchen cabinet that works better for them, correct?
yeah, yes,
And when they get this information, I'm trying to be practical about what you're
yes,
checking. The first
hmm,
thing you're trying to do is check to see whether clear cabinets, open cabinets are really better
yes,
than closed cabinets
hmm,
to enable people to live by themselves longer. And the
yes,
second one is you're designing a type of cabinet. But you
yes.
said something a minute ago about, are you giving people an opportunity to have somebody come into their homes and do this analysis, or is it all a virtual thing? The end get for the participant, other than the gift card? I thought I missed something.
Yeah, wonderful question. So to make things easy, we have designated locations where this experiment happens, right? And one of that is the Cognitive Empowerment Program building, right? So anyone interested would have to come to that building to get the experiment done. So we
Okay,
set up the environment, and then in that environment, they wear the headset and then do this simple task.
okay, all
Yes,
right.
thank you.
And you're
So
not going to anybody's house to redesign their
no,
kitchen?
no, we are not. We are
Okay, all
not.
right, just
Yes.
checking.
Yeah.
Clarification, that's all I needed.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much. And that's a wonderful question. So again, the virtual reality experiment requires when you sign up, you have to, once you sign up, there'll be conversation, a follow-up where you can ask any question and then we'll answer. And at any point, if you decide not to participate in this study any longer, you can say you're no longer interested. So the phase 2 is to collect additional evidence to support or try to see if open shelving is beneficial. At the end of that study too, we also then need to design what an ideal visually accessible cabinet would look like. One thing is for it to be beneficial. Another thing is for us to be able to use a cabinet that is visually accessible in our homes. And that's where this co-design session comes in. And this same co-design will be done in the CEP building, right? So it's a Chipotle style, in quotes, and it just requires having a poster with the care partner and then choosing each feature as it goes and then adding why you feel that works best for you. And like you can see, the building on the left, the space is a CP space, and we'll be rearranging that space, the tables in a U-shaped format, and each dyads, that's the pair of two people will sit right beside each other and then be able to co-create these things. We need 6 group of 2 older adults with MCI and their care partners. So again, this is around 2 hours and the location is at CP. It's a one-time session. At the end of this, the 2 people, the pair, will be getting up to $50 public gift card. And the study is also expected to be concluded this month. So thank you very much. Anyone interested can sign up by scanning this. So there are 2 studies you can choose either to participate in both or participate in one of them. And once you sign up, we'll be able to follow up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bilal. So for our audience, Mr. Bilal is trying to get the last 12 people in his study to help determine whether or not an open cabinet or a cabinet where you can see everything in it better supports independent living versus a closed cabinet like most of us have. So from a primary care perspective, what he is studying is how can we make it possible for people to stay in their homes longer and be as independent as possible. And to summarize, basically what he was saying is in the kitchen, to make it such that people could continue to fix their own meals, it's important that they know where everything is. So being able to see what's in our cabinets, although I think we like closed cabinets because we don't like you to see the mess. But more importantly, having things that you need for cooking, for eating, for setting the table are in a place that you can find them so that you can find them whether somebody's there or not, allows you to be independent that much longer. And designing a kitchen, and I'm thinking about this because many of us who are about to retire or have recently retired are doing kitchen redesigns. So redesigning our kitchens with the idea that we make it possible for our independence to be longer is really important. So thank you so much, Mr. Bilal, for bringing this to us. He needs 12 people or 6 different couples or people who live together to determine, to get more evidence for why having an open kitchen cabinet or a glass kitchen cabinet is better than a closed kitchen cabinet. And then the other part, the last part of this, is designing the kind of cabinet that makes accessible those items inside the cabinet. So there are 2 different studies. Excuse me, I think that's correct. There are 2 different studies that we are participating in, right, Mr. Bilal?
Yes, that's correct.
And where this research will take place is here on the Emory campus at Executive Park 6. He's been using the word cognitive empowerment program, and many of our listeners are not aware of what the cognitive empowerment program is or where it is. It's here at the Goizueta Brain Health Institute at the corner of North Druid Hills Road and I-85. And Executive Park 6, that's number 6 Executive Park, is where this research is going to take place. And we have a cabinet a set of cabinets, as he's explained, that help us illustrate the things that he was trying to talk about. You have a kitchen that has closed cabinets, and you have on the other end the same kitchen which has open cabinets. And you're going to put on a virtual headset and play a game. That's what he said. I think that's what he said. And then the last part of that is designing the kind of kitchen cabinet that works well for people who may have a little memory problem or not. So one of the things that is a question is, what's the correlation between virtual reality sets and cabinets and brain health? Why would you do a virtual reality
As
case
opposed
setting?
to a reality.
Yeah, why do you need a virtual reality headset?
Okay, thank you.
Mr.
Wonderful
Bilal?
question. Like I presented in the study, we already did a true experiment, right, which is a phase one, and that's the findings are already published. The reason for the virtual reality is to try to recreate that similar experiment in a unique setting as well. And in literature, it has been proven that virtual reality is a viable tool to conduct real experiments. So, but with the virtual reality, we are able to manipulate the environment to see certain variables that might not be, that won't be possible in real life, because that will require us having to readjust cabinets, make very expensive procurements. But that is easy in a virtual environment. And because of that, we had to use a method in designing a space where the kitchen is as real as possible, right? So you're going into a real kitchen, but in a virtual setting. So it's still similar to the true experiment, but it just saves cost and time. Thank you.
Okay, next,
So,
Emily.
so while we're talking about virtual reality sets, it occurs to me that you can change the color of those cabinets. Do you have any insight yet as to whether dark cabinets or light cabinets are more beneficial?
Unfortunately not, but that's a wonderful question. Those are some of the things that we hope to continue to improve, explore, right? There are different variables. Like variables can be height of the cabinet, right? People struggle to get to upper heights and lower heights, right? And those are some of the things in our publication that we've done. But certain manipulations will come with the lighting, the amount of light in the kitchen, or things like the colors or the paints, but we haven't gotten to that level. At this stage, we're still just trying to focus on visual accessibility, and hopefully someone else will continue from there. Thank you.
So on that note, Mr. Bilal, there are people who want you to leave the QR code up, but I would appreciate it if somebody would put the number to call and the person to call in the chat, because everybody can't do a QR code. And I understand that they're doing that so that you can get in touch with Mr. Bilal to participate in this kitchen study here. Okay, this is a good question, Mr. Bilal. Does Georgia Tech or any place else that you know provide funding to help us get a kitchen makeover?
Unfortunately not.
So Georgia Tech can't find somebody to give us a free kitchen makeover because we need one?
I mean, we can partner. This is a beginning of possibilities, right? We could partner with large companies like Home Depot or anyone that once this is beneficial, they might say, okay, there is evidence to support this cause and might be willing to go way and beyond to help people. But this process starts that, right? You need evidence to be able to prove that something is beneficial or not.
And I just want to reiterate that Georgia Tech is one of the biggest engines driving the development and production of those things that we use in the home for older adults that make it easier for us to live by ourselves. You know those easy to open containers? A lot of that technology was developed here at Georgia Tech. And bed monitors, that kind of technology, letting you know when somebody is up out of bed, is some of the technology that's been developed at Georgia Tech. So right now, he's just told you that they are working with organizations like Home Depot to develop materials to be used in homes for renovation that make aging in place more likely a condition to deal with.
And we have several episodes about aging in place in the archives of BrainTalk Live.
Right. Okay. So the virtual sign-up code for the cabinet co-design will be shown next. They do have one up there. but you have the QR code. Can somebody just give me the information, the call number?
I believe it's just been placed in the chat. There's a phone number in
Yes,
the
I
chat
added
now.
my phone number and my email in the chat.
He added his phone number and email in the chat. Great. So on that note,
Can I make one last point, please?
sure.
Okay. The final point again is just to reiterate what the co-design is, right? We don't know what the final solution will be. A lot of people have complained that they don't want their cabinets to just be open. And even from a design perspective, there are evidences that don't support cabinets just to be open. But a possible solution that we might co-design is a cabinet where you just step into your kitchen and it automatically turns transparent when you want to use it, right? That is high tech. Some people don't like high tech solution, it might be too expensive. There might be low tech solutions where it might be you just join one big door and everything slides open. So we don't know what the final
That's an
solution will be,
idea.
but
That's
a
an idea.
co-design enables us to create what a
Roller door.
cognitively friendly will be. Thank you very much.
Okay, that's important because one of the things that one of our guests indicated was even if we only replace the doors, the cost for replacing the cabinet doors is out of reach for people on a fixed income.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Ms. Williams, for that response, because that's what Georgia Tech is trying to do, help us develop the products and the services that make it more likely for us to age in place.
Thank you.
And kitchen design is allowing us to have greater accessibility. So Marva Shelton says, who is eligible to participate in this? Do they have to have mild cognitive impairment, or can they just be a senior adult?
Any
Are
senior
you
adult
putting a
should-
diagnosis? Do people have to come to you with a diagnosis?
No, anyone can sign up. We do a mocha test first to categorize where they are, and that is at their convenience. So we'll easily follow up when they sign up, and if they don't fall into that category, they might either still get a little bit token for their interest, but may not be able to participate. But we'll decide as we progress on that.
Okay, so in the chat, there is a question that talks about you're opening this study up to anybody. You don't have to belong to the cognitive empowerment program, have to be seen by a doctor or anything like that, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, there's a mocha test. It's a very 10-15 minutes test, pencil test that can help us classify if someone technically falls into the MCI category or not. And MCI
But
doesn't
you're
mean you have dementia.
okay, but you can also be a person who thinks they're normal. How about that?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm one of those who thinks they're normal, and I'm going to sign up.
Okay, thank you.
All right, but you're going to have a lot of those, because that's the question here. Do you have to be a member of the Cognitive Empowerment Program? And the answer is no. So persons in general who are interested in participating in these two studies can participate. You don't have to have a diagnosis. You don't have to be a part of any particular program. You just need to call, and when you get here, they'll do some testing to tell you what's going on.
So this may dovetail with one of our questions.
Phone number and email, Crystal.
It makes me wonder about the visual acuity of the people you'd like in the study. And we've had a question about, should dementia patients get regular eye exams? So maybe that's kind of a two-part thing. I guess with the virtual reality, can you wear your glasses with that?
Yeah,
Do
you
have
can
to be
use
able to
glasses.
see?
You can
Yeah.
use glasses with the VR headset.
And for Dr. Parker, do dementia patients need or receive general regular eye exams? Is that a good
Emily,
practice?
that's a really good question. And from a primary care perspective, even if we have cognitive impairment or even dementia, any preventive examination that you would normally do should be given to all patients over the age of 65. So you should have a regular appointment for dental cleaning and screening. You should have a regular appointment to check your vision, your cataracts, your glaucoma, particularly if you're taking medications for that.
Yeah.
And if you just wear glasses and maybe you're nearsighted or farsighted, if it's been more than 2 years since you had an eye exam or your loved one has had an eye exam, please schedule that individual for an eye exam. Just because we might have memory impairment doesn't mean that we don't still need I call it preventive maintenance. So preventive maintenance means get regular appointments to get your teeth checked, regular appointments to check your vision, just as you would to keep up with your primary care doctor, to check your blood pressure, your diabetes, or anything else. Keep up your preventive maintenance. And that also includes getting your immunizations. So we talked about eye exams, but getting hearing checked. You know, for those of us who are up and somewhat functional and independent, making sure that our hearing is in good order is also particularly important for aging well. So dental appointments, eye appointments, hearing checks, they're all still very, very necessary, whether you have cognitive impairment or not. If you're over the age of 65, you got to keep the regular maintenance going so that you live a long life. That's part of healthy aging. Okay, so
a recent trip to the eye doctor for me for new glasses, I told the eye doctor I'm having trouble seeing at night. I said, is it my eyes becoming more foggy? And she said, no, your prescription's bad. And as you get older, if your prescription's off just a little bit, it can make driving at night a lot harder. So if you're worried about situations like that, go ahead and consult your eye doctor about your concerns about driving as well. It may not be what you think. It may not be cataracts.
That's right. That's a good thing. So we did put the number in the chat about contacting Mr. Bilal. That number is 850-345-3488. Again, 850-345-3488 if you are interested in participating in the kitchen design study that is conducted under the auspices of Georgia Tech here at 6 Executive Park. For your trouble, you will receive a gift card in the amount of $25 and $50 for each part of these studies.
So there was a question in the chat about what was the cost of the study, and I think that the asker was asking, did it cost anything to participate? No, in fact, there's an honorarium for you. But if your question was about what this study costs, I don't know that that's readily available in terms of it.
It generally is not, but I think I want everybody who's listening to us and participating in our program today to take advantage of it if you can. And as we close, and you may get an extra 5 minutes added back to your day, one of the things that we do at the Goizueta Alzheimer's Disease Research Center at the Goizueta Brain Health Institute is we want your participation in research. Yes, we do research that involves people who have cognitive impairment, but we also have research for people who have no cognitive impairment, because our objective is to make sure that you maintain those physical and cognitive skills that allow you to live healthfully and for a long time as independently as possible. Yes, we do Alzheimer's disease research studies, but a lot of the research that we do here is about how to stay healthy and how to live independently for as long as we can. So somebody's going to put up the bar or the QR code for the studies that we have. We have the Emory Healthy Aging Study, which is an online study. And we have the Emory Healthy Brain Study, which is a longitudinal study. We also have a PAN study, which is another study to look at your brain and look at imaging. And we have a number of studies similar to the one that Mr. Bilal has that talk about just aging in place and helping us learn how to do that a little bit better. So you have the chat website contact, and you can participate in several studies, particularly if they're online studies, if they're out of state. I don't think the virtual reality cabinet study that we heard about today is appropriate for people who live out of state. But our healthy aging program is. If you want to learn more about participating in research in our Goizueta Alzheimer's Disease Research Center, please look in the chat. And again, you'll see us next week here, same time. Same bat channel, isn't that how they say it? 2:00 p.m. on Tuesdays. You're always going to hear and learn something about staying healthy and aging healthfully. And most importantly, you're going to learn something about participating in clinical research that helps us age better and keeps our brain together as we age. So thank you all so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Thank you all so much. Be sure to sign up for our men's program next week if you are a man and you are in the Atlanta area. We're going to drop that link to the men's health program into the chat one more time. And of course, we'll be back next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern for another episode of Brain Talk Live. Until then, stay well, stay curious, and take good care of your brain.
John says, see you later. Bye.
See you later. Bye.